I'm Tian, this is Rohan, and we're Engineered Money. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about Crypto.com. But more so than that, we're also going to talk about this new feature on the new Crypto.com Chronos network called VVS Finance. Now, for those who don't know, VVS Finance is this new DeFi application that is supposed to be very, very simple. What does VVS stand for, Rohan?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you right now what it stands for. It stands for very, very simple. And, in the last, I want to say like 3 days, 4 days, Rohan and I, we've been trying VVS Finance and we've gotten a good feel for it. We decided to just talk a little bit about what we think about it and kind of bring that knowledge to you, the viewers. So just to get started, yeah, VVS Finance, it stands for very, very simple finance. And let me tell you, at least in my opinion, it was not as simple as the name suggested. What do you think? Like setting it up just in general.
I don't think it was incredibly complicated. It definitely wasn't nuclear science. But if my life depended on my mother setting this up, I would be very doomed. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Now, I'm just going to go bring up VVS Finance for all our viewers here so we can all get a good look of what it is. Let's do that. All right, so I got the screen up right here of VVS Finance, and you can kind of see I just threw in some money into it, and it's just collecting. Now, when you look at the screen, it does look pretty simple, right? At the top right, you kind of have the value of the special VVS coin, and it's like a dedicated coin that is used by VVS Finance. And beyond that, it's also pretty simple. You can swap your currency, your CRO for VVS, and you can also use it to earn more money, either through farming and mining. And beyond that, you can just look at the dashboard and see how much money you're making. And that's about it. There's also this analytics tab. I don't really look at it much. Have you looked at this much? I don't really care too much about what this is, but it's just like
No,
a big picture of what VVS is. You can kind of see the market cap and all that. Now,
I think it's very simple. So I think, as the name implies, it's not like for your complex trader or whatever. Do you want to go over like the differences between farming and mining here in this instance? Because I'm not like totally sure. And so I think it would
yeah,
be good to start.
absolutely. So I think for a newcomer, it can certainly be pretty confusing what we're doing. So to start, for those of you who aren't aware, VVS Finance is kind of like this new application that runs off of the Chronos network brought on by the CRO coin, which is owned by CDC.com. So those guys have created this scenario where we can actually go and move our CRO from the traditional network to the Chronos network, and then we can convert it, swap it, if you will. Like I have a few right here, swap it into other coins that we can then use in order to get VVS. Now, in this case, I don't really have much CRO to work with, but what we can do is we can trade it for any of the select tokens here. And when we get it, we can actually go and turn that into liquidity points. Now, in my case, I already have some liquidity points, so I don't have any here, but let me just show you what those liquidity points are. So liquidity points, or LP, is just essentially you holding a bunch of CRO and a bunch of whatever other thing. It doesn't have to be CRO. It can be pairs here. It can be VVS. It could be USDC. It could be CRO. Could be wrapped Bitcoin, wrapped Ethereum. It says ETH here, but it's really wrapped. But you can hold whatever it is. And what you're doing is you're offering that liquidity so that other people can also make the swaps. And by offering this liquidity, you get rewarded with VVS tokens. So this is essentially what farming is. They call it crystal farms, and these VVS tokens, which right now are worth like 100th of a cent, basically. You need a lot of these, but you basically put your CRO and, in my case, Ethereum up, whatever pair you have, and you get back VVS over time. And at any point in time, I can click harvest, and it'll give me all of the VVS I earned. Now, I don't want to harvest now because harvesting has to go through the network, and that means you have to pay gas fees. But we'll go all over that later. So, in summary, this is what farming is. Now, in contrast to farming, there's also another feature called mining. So, mining is essentially kind of like farming, but what you're doing is a bit different. You're purely staking your VVS and you get VVS back. So you don't need any additional coins beyond VVS. So what you would do is you would go to trade, you would go to swap, and you would pay whatever coin you want to pay, and you would swap it for VVS. And you would just get a certain amount of VVS, and you can take that VVS, go to mines, and you can go and stake VVS. So you can press plus to stake it. I don't have any VVS right now, so I am unable to stake. But basically, I have some stake here, and you can see it's going up in value. Now, what's cool about staking VVS is, and this is kind of what the draw was for me, and I think you as well, Rohan, is this value. It's getting lower every day, but it used to be very high. I think when I started, it was like 2 billion% APY. Now it's down to only 430,000, but it essentially just allows you to compound your VVS greatly. And
Well, I would
right
argue
here,
it's still quite high, and I think that a lot of people are seeing the value go down, and they're getting worried about their value. They're like, "Is this the scam?" And it's a very new thing. It's a volatile thing. The liquidity in here is very low. So just taking like a step back, I would say that for people who like really don't know and they're not totally familiar, I would compare VVS Finance to what PancakeSwap is for Binance. So Binance has their own like token or coin, Binance coin, and they basically have their own network. I forgot the name, but they have PancakeSwap, which is similar to VVS. And basically what they're doing is they're like providing liquidity, and they're basically like making these swaps and having a mining platform. This is a similar thing for what is comparable to CRO's Chronos chain. So recently, I think about a week ago, November 9th, 2021, CRO, Crypto.com launched the Chronos chain, which is brand new. It's still brand new. It's having its issues, but it's kind of prevailing through them. And so on this network, I think the very first liquidity provider was VVS Finance. And so they're still kind of getting their start, and they're coming through, all their issues, and they're learning from their past mistakes. I think there were two other ones. There was like there was VVS, and then there was like what was it? There was like two others.
sorry, I don't think I know off the top of my head.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, there were at least like two other ones. Anyways, they're basically doing the same thing, but VVS is technically the first one, and it's also it's shilled or promoted by Crypto.com in their DeFi app, which is kind of big. So I think that just because the value of the VVS token has fallen in the past few days doesn't mean anything. I think as they like reach stability and more people pour into the Crypto.com network and the Chronos chain, it's going to provide a lot more liquidity into the VVS token, and the value is going to go up over time. So the value might have fallen in the short term, but the APY is still insane. It's like, as we're filming this, it's 430,000%. Just for example, if you have roughly 3,000 USD in your wallet and you're farming with this APY, within 1 month, you're able to make about 2.8K. Obviously, the value or the APY is falling, but I think it's a really good short-term play right now. Or sorry, I don't want to say short-term play. I want to say it's a long-term play, but the short-term gain is very big right now in terms of VVS tokens. And so if you compare this to like the market cap of PancakeSwap or Uniswap or something like that, it's a little unclear right now what their market cap is, or I'm not able to find like a clear-cut answer. But I think that this is like a big opportunity for the future. I know one of the big concerns that people had in the past, or even just like a week ago, was that there was a lot of rug pull. There was rug pull code notice in their security audit, basically meaning that you could put a lot of money into this and then the developers could take all your money and leave. This is just basically what VVS is. It's basically a direct code copy of PancakeSwap. And when PancakeSwap launched, it had the exact same code. And this code is just there so that if there's an issue within the network and they basically need to like fix something really quickly, they're able to like take manual control over the network and fix these things when it's brand new. So after 1 week on November 17th, they've already fixed this, or they've already removed this backdoor code. And so that security audit is no longer valid in terms of the rug pull code. So that concern is actually gone. And the value of VVS hasn't recovered to what it launched at, and or not launched at, but what it was a few days ago, where it was like 0.0004 or something. And that tells me that it's a bit undervalued right now, if that was the main concern people had over the network. I think a lot of whales just had a lot of VVS tokens and they just cashed out, and that's what's happening. And it's scaring a lot of people.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think this is a good time to segue into the pros and cons of getting into something like this. In my eyes, I think that what's great about VVS and this whole staking opportunity is that these are basically gains in terms of your cryptocurrency coins. You get more, and it is essentially guaranteed that you get more and more and more, right? Like, we're not talking about the value here or how much money you get, but in terms of like just the coins itself, you are guaranteed to get more, and you're guaranteed, at least right now, you're guaranteed to get a lot more. Whether you're farming or you're mining, you are getting a lot of those coins, and you are able to liquidate them, and you're able to convert it into real fiat money, which you can also use to buy goods and services. I think one of the risks to it is that you got to remember, whatever it is that you have in there, it is tied to the value of the coin, right? You did mention it did go down, and I think that does scare a lot of people, because when you look at these calculators, you put in, oh, I put in $1,000, I put in $3,000, right? And in a month I'll get $2,800 back. But that's a bit of an untrue statement, right? I can put in $3,000, and what I'm getting back in a month is, assuming that the interest is exactly the same from now all the way till then. It could be higher, it could be lower. We don't know, right? You're getting that much in value of coins in today's value. Now, those coins, they could go up, they could go down. If they go up, then you're getting a lot more. If they go down, you're getting a lot less. If the interest rises, you're getting a lot more. If the interest falls, you're getting a lot less, right? It's not so clear where it's going. But what it is clear is you're getting a lot more of VVS, and it is just a token that you can hold. And it's simply just a hedge against your other holdings. Now, my personal thought is, in my roughly 3 to 4 days of holding this, I think I have some regrets in doing it and timing it the way I did. Now, what happened for me is, one, I decided, oh, look, it's got billions of percent in interest. I'm going to go in. I go in and I realize I'm getting lots and lots of money. I think in a single day, I got like 25% returns on my investment. And it wasn't even a full 24 hours. I think this was just overnight. I put it in, I went to sleep, I woke up, and I was like, wow, I'm richer. Why? The coin went up by a lot, and I got a lot of extra coins from the interest. It's compounding. It's very powerful. So that was very exciting. But another thing that worried me was there was so much traffic. So many people wanted to do this, that you were just having the worst time trying to stake, trying to take money out. And that got me a bit worried. Are the servers enough to handle this? Are we able to see our return on investment as more than just a number on a screen? So I went and I proceeded to take this money out. I went and I attempted to cash it all out. And through all of this heavy traffic and congestion, frankly, I was able to cash it out. So for those who are wondering, and for those who haven't cashed out yet, you can cash out. I can confirm that. At least as of a few days ago, I was able to cash out. Now, what happened after, of course, is, the FOMO sets in again. I'm like, man, I cashed out. And I'm watching you over here getting so much interest. And I was like, man, I'm feeling the FOMO now. I'm going back in. I know I can cash out. I'm going back in. And now that the congestion's gone, maybe it actually is very, very simple. Maybe I just know better because I'm doing it the second time, but without the congestion, it honestly doesn't feel as bad as I thought it did. So I go back in, I go and I stake some more of it. And this time around, I trade my CRO back, and I get way less VVS than I got selling VVS, because VVS's value has increased so much. And I'm like, okay, I'm down like a lot of VVS now, but whatever, the compounding interest will make up for it. And then what happens after? Well, the compounding interest keeps going on, but it's decreasing. So I'm not getting as much as my first net returns. But not only that, I also realized that CRO, which I used to convert it over, was seeing huge gains, and VVS was not seeing those same gains. It was dropping and dropping and dropping. I think it lost like 50% of its value while I had it. And as a result, and this happens to a lot of people, especially to me, I always buy at the top. I always sell at the lowest. It just happens all the
It was
time.
all FOMO.
This is what happened here, right? Like I FOMO'd in and I got burned. Well, maybe I didn't get burned. I haven't recashed out. Maybe there's hope for me yet. But at this point, I'm feeling a little bit of regret. And I think this is something that's important to highlight to anyone who's looking into this, right? When you have this money staked into VVS, it is no longer really whatever you had before, right? You converted it to something else. And this is no different than, converting your fiat to crypto, converting one crypto to another. You're deciding that you want the worth of one more than the other. And this is what's happening here, right? But at first, I wasn't that clear on it. I was like, oh, is it still CRO? I'm not sure. Now, no, it's not. I think it's important for everyone to know.
But like in the bull case, like if you could go back, you're saying you're comparing CRO to VVS token, and it's not really like fair because VVS just launched. It has very little liquidity. It has a lot of volatility, and not a lot of people know about it. And a lot of people that do know about it, they don't know how to get it or what to do with it yet. We're still in that learning phase of the Chronos network and VVS and all that kind of thing. So I think like looking back, say in the bull case, if VVS is to have a lot of potential in the future, wouldn't you have want to get in at these insane API rates at 427,000%? That's still insane. So I mean, like if you could have bought back in CRO when it first launched and say it's 5 cents, just for example, and maybe the next day it tanked to 1 cent, it doesn't matter. You were getting 430,000% in a day. Maybe the next day it's 400,000%, but that's still quite a bit. At this current rate, I'm earning like 500,000 to a million VVS tokens a day. Can you imagine if that blows up? Right now, it's not worth anything, but it might in the future, and it has a lot of potential as being like the first liquidity provider on the Chronos network, and it's promoted by Crypto.com in their DeFi wallet app. That's pretty powerful to me.
I think you're right. I guess I'm just letting the FOMO and the short-term numbers get to me here. I'm like, ooh, I sold at the worst time, I bought at the worst time, and now I'm burned on my money. I think like I had like $2,500 in it, and now I have $1,500 and $1,000 is a lot of money, and now it's all poofed away. But I think that's okay, right? I have no qualms with just keeping it there. It is a hedge, but I think it is also important just for all the viewers out there. You may feel the same thing I do, where you go in, you see the number go down, and you're like, okay, geez, why did I do that? But yeah, it is definitely something that has a lot of potential to grow. And I think Chronos as a whole has potential to grow with it just because it's such a new technology and it's got so much going for it in terms of popularity. Speaking of popularity, I heard that in Los Angeles, they're changing the name of their stadium. Have you heard that?
You mean the Staples Center?
Yeah, the Staples Center. I think on December 25th, 2021, for many, many years, it is no longer going to be called the Staples Center. It is going to be called Crypto.com Arena.
And I think it's a 20-year contract. No, that's quite a bit of time.
20 years.
By then you have kids and they might be in high school or something, like who knows?
You will have a whole generation of children who know nothing about that arena except that it's called the Crypto.com Arena.
Okay, the name's kind of funny though. It's a mouthful for sure. But I think people aren't really going to call it like Crypto.com Arena, at least in like day-to-day conversation. They're going to call it Crypto Arena or CDC Arena. That's fine. But all the branding is going to say Crypto.com Arena, and that's what's important.
Yeah, and I think this is by far the biggest branding move that they have made yet. Like having Matt Damon come around and, he's like fortune favors the brave. That is already like big time. And, I was talking to you about this earlier. I was just watching some meme on Reddit about Formula One. And while watching the video, I saw an ad for Crypto.com just on a banner on the middle of the road. It was like a bridge thing, like just overhead. And I paused there and I was like, whoa, That is pretty cool, right? Not many people in the past know about it, but now everybody is seeing it everywhere. It's being talked about in a lot of places. Like I was
Yeah,
on the NBA subreddit on reddit.com and I saw it there too. You know, everyone hated it, of course, but it's
yeah,
definitely getting talked about. It's getting a lot of exposure.
yeah. That's all it needs. I mean, like honestly, like I have friends, and I was talking to them about CDC and CRO so long ago, and at best they would buy like $20 of CRO, and they sat on it. But now, since they've announced the Staples Center thing, my friends are contacting me, asking me like, oh, about the Visa card and like how that works and like all the information around that, and should I do it? Should I not do it? My answer is, I've had really great returns with it. I don't regret getting it all. Maybe you would be buying at the top for at least the short term, but I think long term it's a good investment. And anyways, if you're going to get the card, you have to stake for at least 180 days, I believe. So, I wouldn't get this with like, I wouldn't get this if tomorrow, if the value falls, you're gonna, your heart will sink. Never spend money that you can't afford to lose, basically.
Yeah, and this is doubly true because you can't even take it out even if you want to for these cards
Yeah,
for 180 days, right? That
yeah,
is so long. That's half a year, 6 months, and a lot changes in 6 months, right? So this is definitely something to consider. But yeah,
yeah,
we're not financial advisor or anything. We can't say when the best time is to buy, when the best time is to sell. But what I like about it is good value, right? And I was getting so much value out of it and I'm able to actually say why I'm getting this value and why it's good. And I'm just not able to convince anyone else that's good value, except
yeah,
you, until like today, where all of a sudden so many people are asking, hey, that thing you were talking to me about earlier? I want to hear more about it now, right? And I think it's just because there's all this news just popping around it. It's getting controversial. There's a lot of people talking about the stadium, talking about Matt Damon, talking about Formula One, UFC. There's just a lot going on. And I think in terms of value, though, right? Going back to what I was saying, first off, well, with the icy card that I have, that you have, you get 12% return on whatever you staked. That's already amazing, right? This is a
hmm
guaranteed return just like VVS. Now, 12% is a far, far cry from 400 and whatever thousand% that you get from VVS, right? Like 12 is many times lower. That is true. But 12%
it's
is
more
a
stable.
lot higher than, what are you getting at the bank? I'm getting like 0.25%, I'm guessing, something like that. It's basically
I
negligible.
don't even look at it. Actually, I don't even have a savings account at my bank. I just like forego it. The savings rate is too low. I have stocks, I have crypto, I have this, that, but it's just not worth using the bank interest.
Yeah, the bank interest is the silliest thing I can imagine putting money into. I remember a time, I was like a young kid. I had a bunch of money in the bank, and I just stored it there. And I think with something like $15,000 in the bank in a savings account for a whole year, they gave me like 33 cents, right? That is
That
like
reminds me of a
I'm
story.
basically giving them money.
That reminds me of a story. When I was a kid, I got $100, and my dad convinced me to open a bank account with $100, and he wanted to teach me the value of saving money and how it can grow over time and that kind of thing. Well, the bank interest rate is like 0.01% or something. I don't remember the exact percentage, but I kept it there for a year or two, and then I finally go in and actually I'll back up. They send me a monthly statements showing me the bank value of the account. And I remember I see it like after 1 or 2 years, and it's like it's still $100 plus like 20 cents or something, maybe not even that. And I was just like, I'm gonna spend this on a PlayStation. Saving isn't worth it.
Yeah, you're losing money here. You're handing the money to the bank basically. They're getting what's essentially an interest-free loan. And can you imagine how many people have bank accounts that have money in the bank that these banks are getting interest-free loans on and they can do all sorts of things with it, like stake for a CDC card and they're getting
Yeah,
12%, or maybe they're going to VVS. They're getting like hundreds of thousands of percent. Well, you're sitting here with 0.1%. It feels pretty bad, I gotta say.
yeah. But sorry, pivoting a little bit. Have you seen what rank Crypto.com coin is on CoinMarketCap now?
I think it was like top 20. I don't know exactly what it
Yeah,
is.
it's 18. It's number 18, and the market cap is 13.12 billion right now at the time of filming this. And actually, Litecoin is only 15.5. I can see that passing Litecoin within a matter of days at this current rate, which
Oh
is kind of
yeah, for
insane
sure.
because Litecoin is like one of the original like coins. I know it's not really talked about anymore. It's not really like even being worked on anymore, but it's still, top 15 coin.
Yeah, but I think in my eyes, Litecoin, I I don't know what to use it for. I have a bunch of Litecoin, cool story. It doesn't have the recognition and first, well, what's the
Exactly.
term? Like, yeah, it doesn't have like it's not recognized like Bitcoin. It's not like well worked on with like some famous founder like Ethereum, right? It's there, and
Even
at
even
some
the
point
creator of
people liked it.
Litecoin, yeah, even the creator of Litecoin basically said he wasn't going to use it anymore. I think he sold his own Litecoin. Basically, it's just there now because people want to prop it up. That tells me that CRO is undervalued right now because it actually has some utility. It has some purpose. It has like a rewards program and stuff. So I can see easily passing Litecoin by the end of the year. Honestly, maybe even before December. Now the big challenge, the next challenge I see for Crypto.com coin is it passing Shiba Inu coin.
That is going to be very difficult because we all know the power of memes trumps many things.
This
It
is
trumps
true.
logic. You
This is
buy
true.
into a bunch of memes, and all of a sudden you're super rich. And yeah, I think if Crypto.com can do that, then that is, that's pinnacle right there. If it can beat Shiba, if it can beat Binance, which I'm not saying is a meme, but it is like quite a large exchange, right? We
Yeah.
are on the cusp of something great here. And I
Yeah.
can definitely see that happening just because it has so much good usage, like so much opportunity to be used in a real life scenario. Like day to day, TBH, I don't really do much with Bitcoin or
I'd
Ethereum,
never use Bitcoin. Yeah.
like I just have it there and it just sits around and it doesn't do much. It's like having a gold bar. Am I going to do anything with it? Maybe I can make jewelry. I'm not really into jewelry or anything, so it's not that useful to me. But
Yeah.
what I am into is, having a credit card that has good returns. Like I pay $100, I got 5% back. I love that. I get free Amazon Prime, free Netflix, free Spotify. I love that, right? Getting 12% back on my returns, the lounge access, I love those things. This is why I had like a Chase Sapphire Reserve. I love those things. This is why I have all these other perks. That's what I love, right? I
Yeah.
don't care so much about some coin that doesn't do anything. And this is
Yeah.
why
Totally.
none of those matter to me. This is the one that matters to me.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of facets right now going on for Crypto.com, and it's going insane. It's going hyperbolic, basically. Like we have this whole advertising thing. We have Tom Cruise. We have this, the Staples Center. We have like MMA being branded. We have Formula One being branded with
Wait, Tom
Crypto.com. It's
Cruise? We have Tom Cruise going on?
or what was the Fortune favorite
Oh
lawyer
no,
thing?
yeah, Matt Damon. Matt Damon.
Oh, Matt Damon. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't remember Tom Cruise being here, but
Oh, okay.
I,
Okay.
I
I'm
was
not
surprised.
good at
But okay,
actors.
all right.
But then, we have the whole like utility and we have like the people who actually care more about the crypto thing. We have the whole Chronos network coming up. We have VVS, we have liquidity coming into this. We have, apps that are going to be built on it. And the Chronos network, I think, supports Ethermint or whatever. So basically, you can port over your Ethereum contracts into the Chronos network quite easily. And so when we start seeing like apps show up, we start seeing NFTs show up. That just adds like a whole nother like parallel to this whole thing where like it's just like we have this level where it's going mainstream with the advertising. We have this whole thing where it's like people have these Visa cards or whatever that they're getting all these benefits from, and they're really like able to use uh, and like use it in like a very real meaningful way. And then we have the whole like app side of it, and it's getting built into like their DeFi and their Crypto.com app, and it's like it's becoming this whole like monolith of like great crypto things that can be good for everyday users, and then also the people who care about like DeFi apps and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Crypto.com exchange isn't even out in the US yet, right? That is a
Yeah,
positive
that's
catalyst
true.
that is yet to come. And look at how good these other positive catalysts have been, right? The Stadium, the Chronos network, right? This whole
Mm-hmm.
VVS DeFi launch. It's been great, and there's more to come. And I am, of course, bullish as ever. So I just want to circle back real quick about VVS again and just like the pros and cons once more, because I just remembered there was one more con that I wanted to bring up to our viewers, and that is regarding the cashing out. Now, when you use crypto.com mine, not farm, or actually, sorry, my bad, reversed. When you use crypto.com farm, not mine, I'm just going to share it again.
You mean VVS?
Yeah, for VVS. Sorry, VVS farm. Man, I'm really stumbling with these. When you harvest and you try to take out your liquidity points again, it says it's Ethereum, right? Now, I want to mention it is not. It is actually wrapped Ethereum. And this CRO, you have to also remember, is the Chronos version of CRO. So what that means is if you want to cash it out back to what you had originally, you're going to need to convert it back. And that requires gas. And for me, what I had to do is I needed to add Ethereum in order to make that conversion. Now, one other downside is in order to, like, I had some Ethereum lying around, but for those who haven't used crypto.com before or haven't actually tried transferring out, there is a minimum amount of coins that you need to transfer. I think for Ethereum, it's like 0.001 or something like that, or maybe 0.01. It was roughly like almost $100, a little less than that. You needed that amount of money to transfer it out. Actually, wait, why did I say 100? I think it was more like $50. But you need that amount to transfer it out. And I had like 0.09 really? Or something really close. And I could not transfer it out unless I added a little bit more. And now I'm like, where am I going to find a little bit more Ethereum? Because if I only transfer a little bit more Ethereum, I got to pay a bunch of gas, and that's just not worth it, right? There's a lot of this stuff that makes it a little bit illiquid. So you got to be careful.
Less easy. Yeah,
you got to be careful when it comes to those farms. If you want to convert it back, you got to make sure you have the gas, right? And that doesn't go just for the Ethereum gas and the conversion there, but you also need CRO to harvest and to do all those conversions too. So if you don't have the CRO in your DeFi wallet, you can't do a lot of these things. And, you know, you gotta, like, that's an easy mistake to make, right? You convert all your CRO, you don't have any. How do you?
That's a good point.
You can't.
Yeah. I've made it a habit now to always leave a little bit of some crypto over whenever I'm transferring it from different places, just so I have enough to pay like certain fees depending on the network. But I think that most exchanges and networks I've used kind of implement this for whatever reason.
Yeah, and it's not implemented there. And this is why earlier you saw I had like 30 something CRO just sitting there. You got to pay your gas, and it doesn't do it for you. It's so tedious. But what this means, I think, in my eyes, is we're early, right? It's not so user-friendly yet. Yes, it's called VVS, very, very simple. There are some challenges to it, and it's not for the everyday grandma off the street that can just go in and do it. But you bet that one day, all of this is going to be built to be easier to use, abstracted out the complexities, and at that point in time, more and more people are going to hop in, right? In my eyes, that's what makes us early here, like, or at least one of the factors. And that's one of the factors that keeps me bullish.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I think we had a good chat here. It's a good place to wrap up. For all you viewers, thank you for viewing. This has been Engineered Money, and this is another chat about Crypto.com and also the new VVS Finance.